RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender at BlenderHD. If you want to follow me on. And it's Tuesday, January 14th. We'll be taking a look at tonight's NBA DFS slate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the slate tonight. So hit the thumbs up button anyway in the door. Give me those thummy thumbs. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Join with me. First time on the show, it's Justin Perri from Shot Quality. Does that mean that if you have quality? That could mean multiple things. That could mean either you have ball, or it means that if I take you out to the bar, the tab's going to be pretty hefty because you like quality shots.
It's a little bit of both. I won't lie to you. Thank you, obviously, for having me on the show. I've been on a couple other RotoGrinders shows before, but this is my first time on today. Excited to chat about what our two companies have really collaborated with. Let some of the awesome data from Shot Quality drive some of the players we're going to pick today. It's going to be a great time, and I've honestly had an awesome experience using this model myself, so super pumped to build some lineups.
And Shot Quality add-on here at RotoGrinders, very similar to the Blitz, a card Blitz for NFL, or the Bat for MLB. Shot Quality, you can see right here on the screen. You could even use HQ. You could go right over to Shot Quality Advanced Analytics. It'll load the quality projections in. We also have statistical projections for Shot Quality as well. So if you have our props and pick page, you could get the Shot Quality model and all statistics. You could export that via CSV. You could use it anywhere the hell you. So obviously at NBA, things change all that. I mean, it's not like, we have Shot Quality done. We're done for the day, right? Because obviously we look over here at this injured tab, and by God, Ltic today. Let's do a round of who the real Q tags are. I mean, you have like LeBron being questionable or something like that is like, I always look the fake Q tags. And then if they're in, if they're out, obviously there'll be people. This is 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Where we all know that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, some guy that went on the injury report is going to end up being questionable. It's like, okay, this guy doesn't want to play, or some illness, some personal reason, broke a hangnail. Who knows what's going on in the NBA? So and that could vastly change the slate. But Justin, what are we looking at when it comes to? I know there are probably better options today, even if he does play. But like Trae Young, 10K against Phoenix. I mean, this is a pretty healthy in the Suns Hawks game.
Yeah, he was. I just saw. I think he's going to play. I think he was just present at shoot around, reported about 10, 15 minutes ago. So I would expect that to lead to him playing. Of course, maybe one of the biggest shifts in the slate, if he does not suit up for the Hawks today, would, look to a couple different spots if he isn't going to be in there. For me, I would like Bogdanovic. I think that is a good spot to get some of that shooting, and then expect,
questionable too. Just whoa, right? He's questionable also.
I know. But if he's, if one isn't there and the other is, you have to give the boost to the shooting that Atlanta likes to emphasize. I could see maybe Garrison Matthews being that cheap play a little lower down. Maybe some people going to the back of Garden Pressy. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. But I would expect it to actually maybe be Garrison Matthews, who I've seen that shot volume creep up when there are minutes to be soaked up.
That's I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure you should really even care about the Nets, but whatever. We got Russell, Ben Simmons. Boy, have the mighty have fallen. Ben Simmons at 500, still 1% owned. Yeah. D'Angelo Russell's there again. I mean, I don't know. I never know what team he's playing on. What are we doing with the Nets? Does it even matter? Let's say Russell and Simmons are out.
Yeah.
Does it even matter?
Are you going to actually find value in the players because we're missing a few people? Maybe. I do think that you can look to someone like a Nick Claxton for a cheaper option, especially if Russell isn't there. The shot quality model likes Noah Clowney a good amount too. I think Cam Johnson is questionable today instead of out, so we'll see if he's in. That's a big shift for how this Nets team plays. He'll be at 7,400 today. Yeah, that's an interesting spot. I've been looking at Claxton a good deal. I think he usually is a bit undervalued.
Any other keys that we have to care about? Malik Monk, questionable. We got Kobe White, questionable. I mean, obviously Kyrie Irving, 9,300, questionable against Denver. That looks to be like a pretty big game on the slate. Anything else that we should be looking at as far as if this guy, if the guy is out? Essentially, what we're trying to ask right now is that if questionable guy is out, this teammate is going to be someone you're going to really want to jam into a lot of lineups.
I mean, when Kobe White sat in the last game, Lonzo Ball scored 15 points and had a pretty nice spot. So I would assume he'd be entered into the starting lineup again if White was to miss another game with his neck injury. That's another spot I think you go to. I would expect the usage to be a little bit lower. People are probably a little worried about the injury. One 15-point game does not necessarily make for consistency, but I do think there's probably opportunity there. And what you'll find with the shot quality model is it chases opportunity, which is more predictive than, a hot or a cold player. It's still a little tough of an option to buy into on Lonzo Ball, but if White sits, I think you got to get him in there at least a bit.
Okay, let's take a look at the non-questionable players. As of now, I always say in NBA, as of now, the projection we have for Jokic is ridiculous. I mean, like, just absolutely ridiculous. I have the RG project. Shot quality has it even higher. Like, typically, once you start seeing RGVs, which is RGV in our lineup HQ tool, it stands for grinders value. It really is a salary adjusted plus minus for a player of that salary. So essentially, what RGV says is that, like, if you go down here and George is 8K, it's like to make value, the median value of an 8K player, you should have it should be around 40 points. Right. Yep. So if you 8K player, you should expect on average, right, 50% of the time higher, 50% of the time lower. That's to score about 40 fantasy points. Well, if we have the mean projection as 42 point whatever, that 8K player has a RGV of 2, right? 2.92, right? So he's 2.92 higher a player that you would expect for 8K. Right. So that's a lot of times you sort by RGV, show you like what are the best projected plays on the and we have Jokic, although he's 12.2K. A 12.2K player should project for about 56 points or so from a standpoint. He projects at 67 today in the RG projections with GV of 11.46. Giannis also has an 8-point GV. Obviously, the lower in salary you go down, the more that this matters. But I'm going to give you conflicting info, Justin. Jokic is probably the highest raw points player on the slate. But when we get to SimLabs, he may not be the best DFS play on the slate.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the usage is like, right? Because it's not just as straightforward as who's going to get the most points. You have to balance salary and you have to balance opportunity. It's a big word in any type of sports gaming. So, yeah, Jokic sitting at a projection of something like 33 points.
Why is it so high, Justin? I mean,
looking into that because
can you explain? Because I want to look. Let me see. Look, I can go. I'm going to shot quality advance. I know, Justin, your first time on the show, you don't realize I interrupt people 17th. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I love it.
It's nothing new. Jokic has a 71.98 DFS projection in the shot quality projection. It's 37. Can you tell me why it's so?
Yeah, so shot quality is definitely liking the opportunities he's going to get to create good shots against this Dallas Mavericks defense. Dallas ranks 10th in offense and 13th overall in the NBA, but their defense is what weighs them down at 21st overall in the league per shot quality, allowing 1.17 expected points per possession, but only giving up 1.12. So that increase of about 2.5% in terms of like the average shooting percentage across the floor, it just means that what shot quality is seeing is a much worse defense than maybe the models that price props, DFS prices against box scores. So when you have a team like Dallas, who they're allowing teams to shoot just 57% at the rim this season, based on the spacing and who's guarding whom and how good the players are at taking those shots against Dallas, shot quality expects that rate to be at 64%. So when Jokic goes in to play Dallas, we grade their defense as one that allows 64% shooting, not one that allows 50%, 57% shooting like all the other models are going to do out there. So if he has an even easier, sorry for the sirens if you can hear them, but if he have an even easier time scoring, then yeah, going up against a defense that looks much better than it is at the rim, it's an opportunity to buy in on one of the best players in the league, if not the best.
So obviously the center power position today is loaded. With Jokic, we got Giannis, 0.5K. We got Durant, 9,100 at Atlanta, which it also has that's one of the big games. Sabonis, 9,800. I mean, I'm just sorting by RGV here and seeing that.
And if Monk's out, Sabonis becomes, I mean, that's so much more volume for him too. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a really interesting slate today, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, the interesting point is that I don't see, like, sometimes you sort by RGV and you're going to get someone in like the maybe 3, 4 around here that's cheap. That's like, okay, some $4,200 that's getting an opportunity. They haven't priced him up yet. There's, something like that. I don't see that. So, like, where are we going to find value on the slate? I mean, if you go by ownership, and obviously this is initial ownership, right? Initial ownership at 11 o'clock. Mathurin at the highest owned player projected on the. He fills a guard and a forward spot, which makes it that you could fill spots in a DFS lineup on DraftKings. So I stand that 34 minutes, 32 fantasy points. I mean, it's not like he's like great. He's just there. It's just that like T. Connell, 4,700. Like these Pacers guys, Nemt, 5,300.
I think it's because Halliburton's out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's not guys are like cheap. Like they're fine. Like if you looked at like a raw point perspective, like their salaries are fine. Like it's a situation where you need to jam in a $5,800 Mathurin and up. It's just that where's the other value? Like you mentioned Krejci on the Hawks. He's 3,400. Like he may end up being like 20+% owned today because in order to guys like Jokic or Giannis or to play like any guys with raw point value, like you have to find someone. Can a $3,400 player give me 20 points? Like that's all you need out of these types of guys.
Yeah. So you can buy up. You want to buy up today, yeah.
Well, the question is, Justin, like, if nothing changes on the slate, I mean, we got these guys, but is there anything that we should be looking at maybe in the shot quality model at maybe there's some spots on guys that are like 5,500 or below, 5K or below that aren't these Pacers guys? Maybe in a slightly lower projected, but maybe end up being 5% owned because people are going to just play these Pacers guys as quote value.
So the shot quality model assumes that the questionable players are going to play. So with Trae Young in, Clint Capella is one of the top values for us under that 5,500 line. Also, I think a lot of people will be looking at TJ McConnell, but you can think maybe Andrew Nembhard might soak up a couple extra of those shots. He saw a little extra volume, I think, yesterday as well. And then I like Yves Messi against the Bulls there for the Pelicans. If you maybe want to go with a little bit of a contrarian play at center, again, or Capella, both of them I think have. It's going to be interesting because you might very well see a high concentration of Jokic plays, of Giannis plays. But yeah, another maybe interesting one down there, Scoot Henderson. A little tougher to buy in on, but shot quality model projecting him at 22.5 points, which isn't exactly great. I definitely rather go with like a Bobby Portis, but that's a different price point almost entirely. So if you want that 5,500 range, the best one I think is Nemhard. If you want that 4,500 range, probably go for like Onyeka Okongwu is also a good option in Atlanta for this model. So there's a couple interesting ones down there, but it's still pretty heavy on like guards. So I do think you can buy up with the centers today.
Yeah, we also have in our NBA prop model, the top edges currently in the prop model is Yves Messi over 8.5 points on FanDuel. Of course, the line may have moved. I should just refresh it on my other screen.
Yeah, shot quality projecting him up at 11.5. So I bet I'll probably be betting on that over myself today. That sounds nice.
Right. Also at Caesars, points and assists for Messi at 10.5. The over there, win percentage at almost 60%, which the Caesars line is based on what I'm looking here is probably plus 100, and plus 100 is 50%. And we have the win percentage at 59.38%. That means plus 100 should really be minus 150 or minus 147 or whatever.
Yeah,
very close.
Figure-ish. Yeah, it's a good. I think it's a good spot.
Right. One thing you have to get used to if you're betting anything, just betting in general, is being able to ability into American odds. Right, so you can take a look and you can go, minus 150 is 60%. Minus 200 is 6%. Like, so then you can at least put it in your mind of like, how often does this thing need to happen for me to break even?
Those American odds, they're designed to make it that confusing, right? It is not in your advantage if you do not understand the odds you're betting into. So yeah, really good advice. Learn it, get fluent with it, be able to sort of understand, where 5 and 10 cents is worth a lot more than when it's not, right? Minus 200 to minus 220 is not the same as minus 120 to minus 140. And you need to understand the way that shape looks, or else you're just going to have probably a bad experience. So yeah, math, gotta love it.
Right. You know how many people I've do, at the poker table, whatever. A lot of people bet sports, guys. I try not to talk about it because I don't want to be the guy that ruins the fun for them. When they're like, "Oh, I got a boost." They did like a 12-leg parlay, right? Got like some boost, and it went from like plus 14,000 to plus 17,000. I just listen to that and go, the hold on that on I see what the part is, like this SGP or something, and I go like the hold on that probably like 55%. So it's like the implied probability that you moved from plus 40 to plus 17,000 or 14,000 actually doesn't even anywhere close to that. You'd have been better off just betting one of them straight, and you're going to make more money in the run even without the little boost that they got or something like that. But that's just me. That's me with the math and whatever. I was fun because then you say that to someone that and they go it's just ups, dude. I'm just looking to sweat the game, and it's like, okay, which is always Justin. It's always unsettling to me when I hear these things from good poker players. From poker, that if you mention in poker and they go, well, would you call $5 in this 2-5-9-4 offsuit? And they go, absolutely not. That's a waste of money, right? So, well, it's $5. Why are you ruining the fun? It's like, well, they medically understand why not to do that. They just don't necessarily care about it when it's sports betting.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, it all comes down to what you're there to do. The people who sports bet for fun, they're not gonna hunt for the best line. They're probably just gonna use one book. But look, if you care about pricing and you want to turn a profit, these are the things that can help you achieve that goal. Um, Entertainment versus actually trying to make some winnings is definitely a very different process and mindset.
Let's go over to SimLabs, and I'll share what SimLabs says, because remember, SimLabs are our DFS simulation model, which we take projections, we make dummy lineups for the fields, and we just simulate the contests, the actual DFS contests. Lineups are higher EV and what lineups are lower EV, and what the lineups look like. This is a good building tool. Like Lineup HQ, you're doing stuff manually. I mean, this is going kind of like the dumber tool of like trying to, well, I want to play this, and I don't want to play these groups and whatever. And then you kind of mix in like how much projection, how much leverage, how much action. You have to do that manually. SimLabs kind of like does that for you. Balance between, well, if I play these two guys in my lineup, can I play this other lineup? Well, why don't you run it in SimLabs and see? Well, if I stack a game, is that like a lot of times in our NFL SimLabs, people will be, I'm going to, do I need a run back in my stacks, right? I'm going to stack a team and get a receiver from the other side. And then you run those types of lineups through Sim, see that, oh, the higher EV lineups are ones that don't run back. And it's like, oh, you use it as like kind of a research tool. On this slate here currently, and I always have to say currently at 11 o'clock on the morning, because by 4 o'clock, none of this information may matter anymore. On a day, like Jokic was like, oh, I'm sick, and then he didn't play. And like that was like 5 minutes before game time. The SimLabs has guys like this and Jokic as massively overowned. Okay. So they are some of the highest optimal players. So understand SimLabs is doing here with these numbers. So it says that the opposite projected ownership, 13.88 in the negative, which means that based on his projected ownership, his optimal rate is 15 points lower than it. But Jokic is going to be, we project to be 27% owned. We say that he's going to be in the optimal DFS lineup, the highest DFS lineup, about 13% of the time, which is damn good also. So it's not like we're not talking. That's why people mistake the SimLab stuff as like, oh, the shows as massive, oh, this guy's going to be, percent overowned. It's like, well, whatever it means, what happens if they're 50 owned? That just means that they're optimal 44% of the time. And a lot. That's a lot. I mean, so you have to put it in comparison. The reason for this is that, like, the value on this is like lacking. Like, the reason is that I believe on this, and we'll run some lineups here, that like we look at Pard, right? We look at like a lot of this is going to come down to mid-price players. Like the problem is that when you play Giannis, you need like one of these $3,400, $4,200 guys to give you 25 for your lineup to be worth it, or Jokic to put up 100. Like it needs to be like a combination of those two. While the mid guys, like it could be that Jokic could put up 70 points today and still not even come close to making the output up, because all these 8K guys all score 58, 60 points, and you can fit more of them into your lineup. So the question, Justin, is we're sitting building a small field lineup. If you're playing, kind of like a $12 single entry contest, a 3 max $44 contest. Is there any situation, we take a look at the chalk, and we got Pacers guys, we got Jokic. Are you much more here's a question. Are you much more likely today, if you were playing lineup, Justin, are you much more likely to play Jokic, play Giannis, or play neither?
That's a tough question. I think for me it's Jokic. I think you gotta sort of bite the bullet there. The RGV, it's just like there's a separation for our model. Giannis at 9.5, Jokic at 15.5, and the next is Paul George at 6. So yeah, I think you kind of have to get Jokic in there for the extra $700 the expectation that, this is a 53.15 smash spot for our model. It's just tough to ignore. That is a massive, massive jump. So yeah, it's definitely Jokic is going to be in there for me. It's not exactly glamorous. It's not exactly contrarian, but when the numbers say to do it, and the data says that this Dallas defense is overperforming and we're likely getting a bargain, I think you got to listen to it.
Okay, so if we're going to play Jokic, we're going to have to find some. The problem is that a lot of the value is going to be like these pace guys. So are you much? And then you also Vit Krejci, especially if obviously if Trae Young and Bolden and they all sit, then yeah, he's great. Would you rather we're not going to be able to? We shouldn't be building chalk. So if we decide to play Jokic, I'm just showing how you could use SimLabs to research lineup. So let's put in Nembhard, sure. McConnell, Nembhard. You could use this in exclude players function.
I like that.
TJ McConnell and so basically we're saying we want Jokic, but we want them with these Pacers guys because those combinations are going to be overrated. Now, It's quite possible that I press get lineups and shows me lineups that have such low scores that it's basically telling you that there are no positive EV lineups like that. You should rethink your approach. Like that's a good way of using this tool.
Yeah, it's really smart. SimLabs is great. I've been really impressed.
Right. Okay, we got some lineups, 83, using the defaults. No, these are doable. Okay, so we got Kobe nice. White in here. Harry Trent, Bobby. You mentioned Bobby Portis before, right?
He can. Look, he's an interesting player because when Giannis is in a plus matchup, he should be as well, right? It just comes down to will he get the usage? Will there be a couple extra pass offs from Giannis so that Portis can get a few extra points? But I like Bobby Portis. He's very serviceable, and the floor doesn't fall out too much.
Yeah, it seems to you got Portis, Bobby Portis. We didn't talk about Max Struss. He's a sort of a value.
Definitely.
Because he's only 4K and he can guard in forward spots. Yep. Right? No, we got some here. Okay, this is a valid approach. But let me ask you, Justin, if you let's say doesn't mean you have to play multiple of these Pacers guys. Assuming the situation the way it is right now, would you rather play Nembhard, McConnell, or Mathurin? Like if you had a choice between.
Nembhard, McConnell, or Mathurin. I would probably go with Nembhard. I think McConnell is going to have a lot of natural draw, likely going to be inserted into the starting lineup, I feel. But that could very easily mean playing more of that distributor role. I think Nembhard could soak up some of those points and potentially have that 15, 16-point night, maybe 3 rebounds and 2 assists, 4 rebounds, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I think we're projecting him right now. I'm not in the right position or doing anything right. But no, I think this is definitely a spot for him that we like. He gets into a bunch of these lineups when I'm using SimLabs too. So based on what I'm seeing and the understanding of how this team might very well go out there and play, it's definitely, I think, the better projection. And also, I think even though you're paying $600 more, I think the ceiling's a lot higher.
Yeah, when you play Nembhard, it's giving you a bunch of like these other guys like Shepherd and Siakam. Do you think that's an because you could think in terms of like, oh, people are going to be playing the pay like this. I do this for NFL a lot when I play GPPs. Is that okay? Everyone's players, right? So Nembhard's going to be owned, Mathurin's going to be owned, Collins be owned, and then next thing you know, Pascal Siakam has a 60 game, and Ben Shepherd at 3,200 gets 2 points, fantasy points or something, which is great for 3,200. And all these others, like it's not like they do badly, but they're just like they're sitting there just with their like mean. There's no flame emoji, be an icicle or anything, and just like you didn't need any of these guys. You actually needed the ice on the Pacers, and the other guys on the Pacers aren't being played. I do that in NFL where it's like, oh, everyone is playing, Ross St. Brown, right? They go, oh, I got to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. Got to play Amon-Ra St. And you play like Jameson Williams at like 8% owned, and he's the one that gets 150s. And everyone's sitting there going, oh, I thought the Lions scored all these, and I didn't have it, right? Because the other guy scored. So
I think,
it's kind of saying that a little bit, especially a guy like Nemhart. Like, I would think that would be more likely to go along with other people because just, he's not just the counting stats, kind of just, he's not just chucking the ball and stuff. He's probably going to be did stuff across the stat sheet.
I agree, and we have a bit of a higher floor and ceiling for him. So nothing crazy that would make me think you should or shouldn't go one way or another in those. And the expected ownership is almost identical at around 25%. I think there's a reason to potentially buy up here. There's good reason to think Nemhard at worst gives you like 22, but I think we're probably cruising in for like hopefully a 31, 32, 33 type of night for him. McConnell very easily could come out with, 3 or 4 points less than that, but so that's a tough call. I think both are honestly going to be good plays, and that's why they're both showing up. So ask me to pick between two good options, I would try to have both littered through your lineups.
Okay, last question. Is there anyone that's like 5 or less owned? That this is the common, right? This would be for like the TikTok thing, right? That you'd make a funny say. Is there a guy that's 5% owned that shot quality is like that maybe you take a shot. I mean, I'm not saying it works out like all the time, but when it may work out. And when you GPP. But is there like a 5 for like not even 10%, some 5%
I gotcha.
guy? And sometimes this guy is a real good player. Sometimes it's just like a 9K player. Just everyone's not playing that guy because people are playing Jokic and Giannis and stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean it's some garbage like 7th guy off the bench. But is there a sub 5% guy that you're like, let's lock him in and let's see if there's a lineup that we could build with that guy?
Let's go with Nikola Vucevic against the New Orleans Pelicans, projected just below that 5% ownership today. Has good value for shot quality, 2 points higher than expected. That's the best that I saw for anyone that low. So let's maybe try to build one with him. And then I like Vucevic a lot. I think he can have those nights. He can have those types of games where he just takes over. And the Pelicans defense, not exactly stellar at defending, finishing at the rim, 20th best in the league, but the most frequent in terms of seeing it. 38% shots on defense have come at the rim for the Pelicans. So expect a higher shot diet for Vucevic, which is probably what's boosting him just a little bit in our rankings over everyone else.
And you're going to get a unique construction because if you're already playing Jokic and you're playing Vucevic, you're basically taking up the center and utility spot. And let's see. I took away the Pacers guys. When you play Jokic and Vucevic together, I think you're good enough that you could play whatever the hell you want at that point. So let's put in 20 lineups. See.
I think we're gonna get.
No, you're gonna get nothing. SimLabs is telling you
don't do that.
Okay, so let's just lock in.
You're not gonna hit 260. It's funny.
Right. Let's see normal Vucevic lineups. Okay. Not as many as you'd think, but basically, don't play Vucevic because he's 8,400. Then you play.
Well, you're also so SimLabs is showing the SimLab rating, right? So these aren't the actual SQ projections. So that's probably why. I think it would be a little higher on our end. So what's Vucevic's projection there? It's at
39.83, 39.3.
Right. So I think we have him. Let's see. We're going to give him a 43. So an extra 5.
Yeah, that makes him a little bit better. But the main point that SimLabs is saying is more that paying 8,400 at center and then 12,200 at center, filling in your
utility essentially, kills you.
Probably like maybe if you play Vooch, you're playing him in a non-Jokic lineup rather than in a Jokic lineup.
And I'm guessing SimLabs would vary.
If you add those 4, Justin, even if you add those 4 points, I don't think that's typically SimLabs won't just spit out 120. Like times though, well, there's a couple, and it's kind of up the shrug emoji, and like, here's a few, but I still don't have a very good idea. When I tried to do Jokic and Vucevic, it's basically, yeah, here's one for you that sucks. Yeah, go screw yourself. It's basically like, I don't think the 4 points is going to matter.
Right. No, well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's NBA though. At the end of the day, like at some level, if you think he's going to have that and you want to construct it around him potentially popping off, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's going to go crazy, but again, this New Orleans Pelicans team, I feel like their defense has definitely been a little lackluster, and I mean, maybe it's because I'm a little less experienced in NBA DFS than some other places. But I always feel like, you want to try to find those teams that turn out those 140, 150 nights versus like, someone's going to drop 105 tonight, and that the majority of that team, maybe besides one star, I'm like thinking back to last night with like Tyler Herro and the Heat, like most of the players on that roster were pretty unserviceable. And I feel like the Pelicans create serviceable nights. They run up scores. They allow a lot of points. They allowed 137 to Boston, 120 to Boston. It's a lot of 120s, 115s, 130s. Memphis and Houston put up over 125. Nuggets put up 130. Houston put up 130. I feel like, Pelicans are not a bad team to take some players against. I wouldn't be shocked if some Bulls do well tonight.
Okay, Justin, tell people about shot quality. Winning DFS lineups using the gold standard for basketball data.
Yeah, so shot quality, I can give the spiel. It's basically a computer vision and AI powered algorithm. So instead of just looking at scores, shot quality actually has eyes. We ingest video. Every data point that you see here comes from watching players take every single shot that they've ever taken. And we have the entire NBA for the last 5 to 6 years, backlogging as well. We're talking millions, almost billions of shots across every single league, sometimes players starting in college and moving up to the NBA. And our database essentially watches them grow and learns how to sort of understand growth, and then also how good they are at every single shot type. So when you have Steph Curry taking a step back three off of a pick and roll dribble handoff versus when you have Malik Monk doing it, that extra 2 to 3% points that you're going to get, or the 2 to 3% make percentage difference that you're going to get from Steph Curry in the long term matters when you're trying to compile an expected score for a game or a player. Some other models that try to do this use just the positioning on the floor to say, okay, anyone who takes a shot from this point deserves this amount of expected make percentage. Shot quality goes a whole level further and is individual to each player. And from there, we basically grade every shot, right? So based on how much spacing they have between them and the nearest defender, the speed at which the defender is moving towards them, we log and plot all of that stuff and have it in, essentially put into our models so that we can understand, all right, this tall player disrupts shots more than this short player. And so that is all factored into our final make percentage. And that is then multiplied by the amount of points you could score to get a expected score. So a 45% expected make from 2 is going to get 0.9 shot quality points. And we add that all up to get game scores and can tell you, okay, last night the Knicks lost by a couple to the Pistons, but shot quality expected a 1 point win. So when you step back and look at that, you want to say, all right, maybe like a 51% chance for the Knicks to win. You don't want to discredit them the same amount as just looking at that loss in a binary factor, or as even a 6-7 point home loss. It should have been a much tighter game. And over a season, this becomes quite a profitable and sizable edge against the rest of the market, who doesn't have that type of insight past the result bias and into the process.
So this would be very similar to what like XG is in soccer.
Almost. That is literally what I tell people at the bar. Like it's XG for basketball. And the author of XG gave us a really great shout out in his most recent book for bringing the process in. We've expanded and expanded. We have like a full API now. People build their own models from the data. We have you guys doing that. I mean, we have a DFS model that the awesome RotoGrinders team was essentially able to be like, hey, this stuff kicks butt. Let's go do it. And, you know, we're at the end of the day, we're a data processing company creating the shot quality data set, which I like to sort of describe as the upside down for basketball, where every single shot has a shot quality equivalent. Every single, you know, game has a shot quality equivalent that is more predictive, faster. And we've proven it, right? Like we have shown through fitting our data to results blindly, like taking seasonal data and saying, all right, let's pretend it's the middle of the season and we have the shot quality data and we have this actual data, which one's more predictive? And shot quality is almost like 3 to 4 times faster than just using box scores to establish the same level of predictiveness. And it's been great. I mean, the brand is growing because the data is clean, it's good, it's fast, and we've also now brought in live processing. So if you want to know the shot quality score of an NBA game right after a shot's been taken, we have that now too. So it's really powerful, and I've been enjoying my full 3 years here now. I actually started using it on my own, stumbled upon it, fell in love with it, totally revamped my entire process because of the way it works, and now I talk about it as a job. So it's really cool. It's great.
Here at RotoGrinders, if you get the add-on, you get the advanced analytics screen, which shows, you know, this is all the granular statistical projections. You could download as CSV. You could upload this in Lineup HQ. So if you're doing prop betting, or you're integrating into your own models, or, you know, you're regressing into, you know, this averaging or aggregating, whatever, there's a CSV for everything. Also have the prop betting model, which is very similar to our prop model. I won't scroll because I don't want to give away stuff for free. So, you know, just show what books, you know, the numbers, and, you know, Evan Mobley threes, 1.5. You know, here you go. You know, what edge on each. I'm assuming that this stuff gets updated free, Justin?
Oh yeah, all the time.
It says data updated 9 minutes ago. I always say when it comes to this type of stuff, make sure you take a look at the timestamp. Because, I mean, if you don't reload the page and you come back to this, you know, 3 hours from now, like, it'll still, I mean, you haven't reloaded the page. Like, reload the page. Make sure that the data that you said is there. Because some guy, Trae Young's out today. Well, that's going to everything on the Hawks. Now, it's not going to change everything with your shot quality data as far as how many minutes and the rotations and everything. Like, that's going to matter. So make sure that you have the updated project, the updated, you know, prop model, the updated everything here. And so you could use the shot quality advanced analytics, Justin, not just for DFS, but also for prop betting, which, like NBA, I know there's a lot of moving parts, but seems pretty good that, you know, come in, you know, even an hour before tip off, confirm lineups, would confirm starting lineups, and still be able to find it on most of the recreational sports books.
Definitely. And it's been really good. I run a lot of the points prop data myself through a couple little, you know, probability filters and Kelly criteria and pricing stuff to figure out how much I should be wagering on some of the edges that I perceive, and a couple little filters because, you know, I like my stuff to be a little under heavier, just based on some of the data I collect. But I mean, man, I think I went 18-6 last night using this thing. Like it's really good. And that's a real testament to the RotoGrinders team and their ability to model out minutes and understand how much usage these players are going to get, because once you then combine that accuracy with shot quality's accuracy of how efficient and actually good they are, yeah, you're cooking with gas. It's awesome. I've been really excited. And like my biggest play last night, I only lost because he went like 7 of 17 and I missed by 3 points. So, you know, you can still see where it's coming from. Like I got my shot volume, and I'll just have to keep fighting another day. But it's been really impressive. I fully recommend this model.
Yeah, Tim, who's here on Tuesdays with me, he kind of swears by shot quality. He plays mostly DFS, but he's been starting prop betting more. And, you know, even before the show, I'll say before the show, it's like, have you been using the shot quality prop? Because I have, and no, because the RG model for props, a lot of times, truthfully, a lot of times kind of the same bet. A lot of times the RG model and the shot quality are about edge numbers may be slightly different. They may be because you're using minutes and usage just a little bit much more granular. It's very similar to this. When people say, what's the difference between the RG projections for NFL and the Blitz projections for NFL? Well, the RG projections for NFL take this part of a data set and build a model on it. Well, Cardi has this much more information. So, like, directionally, you're both going to be in the same general area, but Cardi a little bit more accurate on the right, exactly.
Right, and that's what makes or breaks a profit, though, in this game, right? If you're not used to it, you're like, well, why do you care about a 3% difference in your accuracy? That's like a 6% difference in your return on investment. So yeah, that's going to make or break a season. And yeah, essentially, this is just maybe the best data set in all of basketball right now. If not very clearly the best data set in all of basketball. And we have a lot of people who are working with it that run a lot of tests independently that come back to us and are like, holy cow, yeah. So, you know, it's not just me. I'm not just tooting our own horn. The RotoGrinders team wouldn't be working with us if they didn't derive their own, you know, tests and prove that this stuff was working. Everyone I show it to is like, what? How is this just doing this? It's really fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. And, you know, it's just a different way to look at basketball because, like, and my favorite part about it is it doesn't get stale. Like, I'm not every night on the over on the same player. Like, I definitely find myself going over and under on different players, on the same players all the time. So it feels like it really kind of knows what it's doing, and it's weaving through like play types and usages and trying to find where one player is really going to be featured or able to exceed expectations more so than others. And yeah, I just wish Sengun scored 3 more points last night, but that's okay.
RotoGrinders.com/shot quality. Justin, where can people find you personally?
Yeah, for sure. I'm on Twitter/X at Justin Perri, my name, and then the number 8. I do a show 3 times a week using Shot Quality's live data, strictly just college basketball live betting, like just slamming the button, 30 bets in a 45-minute episode, me and my 2 co-hosts. It's a lot of fun. We target the most busy slates of college basketball. Got a 30-game slate tomorrow night on Wednesday, so should be a good time. And it's all SQ. Everything I do is fully powered by it. I essentially am just Mr. Shot Quality at this point. But again, some of the best data in basketball, and it has served me very well. So I appreciate it a lot. And to you as well for having me on the show. And what you guys at RotoGrinders have done is really cool. And we appreciate you guys a lot over at SQ.
Live betting a 30-game basketball slate.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, that is yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the coolest thing is we have. What was that?
No, everyone should go to it. I mean, you must your heads must explode or something.
Dude, I'm pretty sure like I 9 out of 10 times I pass out while trying to get the grading done, and it was like it's just so much. I think I went like 13-3 on the last episode. I'm like 19-8 in my last 2, but the time before that I got reverse swept. So. You know, we try to keep it as real as possible. It has done really well. All 3 of the co-hosts returned profit against -115 odds on over 70 shows last year. So and that's while streaming. So if we can do that live betting on air, it's a really solid tool. I'm so proud to work for such a great data company that has like just verification coming out of the woodworks that it really does work.
Well, hit that like button on your way out the door. Give me those thumbs. Hit the thumb button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification to know when we go live. We got Grinders Live later today, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
Crunch time. They'll have all the breaking news in the NBA. Who's in, who's out, what happens. You know, we talked about all these scenarios that could happen, but, you know, maybe Jokic is out today, and then none of this, man. You just watch the show. None of this anymore. That's what happens in NBA. Literally, that's what happens in NBA. So we try to help you at least somewhat in the morning. So tune in later for that. Follow Justin on Twitter. Get the shot quality projections here at RotoGrinders, RotoGrinders.com/shot quality. I will see you tomorrow with a preview of the playoff round for NFL. We got a 4-game DFS slate. Little first look on Wednesday. We got some props and pick 'em on Thursday. GPP strategy on Friday because I'm here for you on weekdays. Talk all things you're thinking about. Daily fantasy props and pick 'em on RotoGrinders today.